Unlock the ancient secrets of Stoicism and discover how to crush laziness, live with purpose, and fuel unstoppable motivation. Join Marcus Aurelius on a journey of wisdom that transforms your life. The silent power of purpose. The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Marcus Aurelius. Purpose, according to Marcus Aurelius, begins not with external accomplishments, but with the way we shape our inner world. The Stoic emperor understood that thoughts are the foundation of a life well lived. He believed that if we want to live with purpose, we must first align our thoughts with nature, with duty, and with reason. But what does this alignment truly look like? For Marcus, purpose is not a grand, overarching goal that we chase endlessly. Instead, it's found in the small, consistent actions of living according to virtue. It's about how we treat others, how we manage our desires, and how we remain resilient in the face of challenges. In his meditations, Marcus often reminded himself of the need to focus on what was within his control and to let go of everything else. This is where purpose begins, understanding that our duty is not to control outcomes, but to perfect our intentions and actions. The Stoic view is that we are all part of a larger, interconnected whole. Just as the parts of the body have different roles, so too do individuals in society. Discovering our purpose means understanding how we fit into this larger system. Purpose, for the Stoics, was less about personal ambition and more about fulfilling the role assigned to us by nature. Marcus would often contemplate his duty as an emperor. Though the position came with power and privilege, he saw it as a heavy responsibility. His purpose was not to enjoy the trappings of wealth and influence, but to serve his people and maintain the peace and stability of the empire. This profound sense of duty kept him grounded and motivated, even during the most difficult times of his reign. His meditation on purpose speaks to a modern audience too. Many people feel lost or disconnected because they look for purpose in external achievements, wealth, status, or recognition. But for Marcus Aurelius, purpose starts from within. It is the way you think, the way you perceive the world, and the way you respond to the challenges that life presents. What we do now echoes in eternity, he once said. The importance of action is key to the Stoic philosophy. Purpose isn't just something we think about or aspire to. It is something we live in every moment, through every decision we make. The alignment of our thoughts with our actions is the mark of someone who lives with purpose. Every action, no matter how small, becomes meaningful when it's guided by reason and virtue. This is the silent power of purpose, the quiet determination to live each moment intentionally. Mastering the present moment. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Marcus Aurelius was known for his relentless focus on the present moment. This Stoic principle is one of the key insights to staying motivated and living with purpose. The second mystery dives into how Stoics mastered the art of living in the now, and how this can be the antidote to procrastination and laziness. In meditations, Marcus often reminded himself of the impermanence of life. He would contemplate the possibility that each day could be his last, and use that knowledge not as a source of fear, but as motivation to live each moment fully. This is where we find the Stoic strategy to overcome the inertia that often holds us back from pursuing our goals. By acknowledging the fleeting nature of time, the Stoic is driven to act with urgency. The present moment is the only thing within our control. The past is gone, and the future is uncertain. Stoicism teaches that focusing on the now is the most effective way to achieve our goals. But living in the present doesn't mean acting impulsively. For the Stoics, it means being deliberate, thoughtful, and purposeful in our actions. Do every act of your life as though it were the last act of your life, Marcus wrote. This isn't a morbid thought, but rather a call to approach each task with full presence and commitment. When we stop dwelling on what we cannot change, the past, or worrying about what we cannot control, the future, we free up our mental energy to focus on the task at hand. This is where true motivation is found, not in dreaming of future success, but in taking meaningful steps right now. This mystery also examines how the Stoic practice of mindfulness plays into staying motivated. Mindfulness, in the Stoic sense, is about constantly returning your focus to what is within your power to influence. The Stoics believed that much of what drains our motivation comes from allowing our minds to wander to things beyond our control, fears of failure, anxieties about the future, or regrets about the past. By recentering on the present, we can cut through these distractions and stay focused on what really matters. The Stoics didn't just talk about the importance of the present, they also used practical techniques to help maintain focus. One method was negative visualization, imagining the loss of things you hold dear to reinforce gratitude for them in the moment. This practice can help cut through procrastination by reminding you that the opportunities you have now may not always be available. Seizing the present becomes not just a choice, but a necessity. Ultimately, mastering the present moment is about recognizing that time is finite. Purpose is found in making the most of what's available to you right now. When you live with this mindset, motivation becomes an intrinsic part of your daily life because you realize that every action you take contributes to a larger purpose and wasting time is not an option. The discipline of action. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. In this third mystery, we explore the Stoic principle of immediate, deliberate action. One of the core teachings of Marcus Aurelius was that philosophical musings alone are worthless without action. He constantly reminded himself that it wasn't enough to know what is right, you had to do it. This perspective offers an antidote to the paralysis that often accompanies overthinking, laziness, or fear of failure. Marcus Aurelius believed that the best way to maintain motivation and live with purpose was by consistently acting in accordance with virtue. Our actions may be impeded, but there can be no impeding our intentions or our dispositions, he wrote in Meditations. This reveals a fundamental Stoic insight. Although external obstacles may block certain paths, they cannot prevent us from taking meaningful actions. We can always choose to act with courage, wisdom, and justice in any situation. This principle is deeply relevant in overcoming laziness. Many people fall into the trap of waiting for the perfect moment to act, or for the right amount of motivation to appear. Marcus teaches us that we don't have to feel perfectly ready to start taking action. The key is to act now, using whatever tools and resources are available to us. By taking small, consistent steps, we develop the discipline necessary to accomplish larger goals. To the Stoics, discipline wasn't just about self-control. It was about understanding that the quality of your life is determined by the quality of your actions. Purposeful action means doing the right thing, not because it will necessarily yield immediate rewards, but because it aligns with your deeper values and principles. The Stoic is motivated not by external recognition, but by the inner satisfaction of knowing that they have done what is right. Marcus Aurelius repeatedly emphasized that we must act with resolve, especially when it comes to things that challenge us or make us uncomfortable. He knew that the road to meaningful achievement is not always easy, but that it is in facing difficulties head-on that we grow. "The impediment to action advances action," he famously wrote, reminding us that obstacles are not to be avoided, but to be embraced as opportunities for growth. This mindset is transformative when it comes to overcoming laziness. When we stop seeing challenges as reasons to quit and instead view them as necessary parts of the process, our motivation strengthens. Laziness often arises from fear or avoidance of discomfort. But if we shift our perspective, seeing each obstacle as a step on the path to becoming better, we can break through inertia and stay committed to our purpose. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it, Marcus advised. This clarity of intention simplifies the decision-making process. You don't need to debate or delay. By following a code of virtue, you always know the right course of action, and that alone provides motivation. Purpose, in the Stoic sense, is found not in grand aspirations, but in the daily discipline of doing what is right, even in the smallest of things. Purpose as a universal duty. What is your vocation? To be a good person. One of the most profound teachings of Stoicism is the concept that our purpose is tied to our role in the universe. For Marcus Aurelius, living with purpose wasn't about chasing personal ambitions or success. It was about fulfilling one's duty to the world, to society, and to fellow human beings. This mystery delves into the idea of vocation from a Stoic perspective, where purpose transcends individual desires and becomes something larger. In Marcus's view, we are all interconnected, part of a cosmic order that operates according to reason and nature. Each person, like each organ in the body, has a specific function to perform within this order. Living with purpose means understanding and accepting your role within this greater whole. Whatever happens at all, happens as it should. You will find this true if you watch closely, he wrote. This reveals the Stoic belief that everything in the universe, including our own lives, is governed by a rational order. Our duty is to live in harmony with it. This understanding of purpose as a universal duty can radically shift how we approach motivation. When we see our actions as contributing to something bigger than ourselves, we are less likely to fall into laziness or apathy. Purpose becomes not just a personal goal, but a responsibility. Men exist for the sake of one another, Marcus wrote, emphasizing the importance of contributing to the common good. Stoic philosophers believed that our true vocation is to live virtuously and to fulfill the role that nature has assigned to us. This means acting with justice, courage, wisdom, and temperance, not because it benefits us individually, but because it benefits the whole of humanity. Understanding this higher calling can fuel our motivation and help us stay focused on meaningful goals, even when the path is difficult. Marcus Aurelius also taught that everyone has a unique role to play, but the virtues required to fulfill that role are the same for all. Whether you are a ruler, a soldier, a farmer, or a craftsman, your purpose is ultimately to live in accordance with nature and reason. This idea takes the pressure off of finding some grand, individual purpose and places the focus on simply living well, day by day, in whatever capacity you find yourself. By reframing purpose in this way, we can avoid the trap of laziness that comes from feeling disconnected or aimless. Instead of searching for external validation, we recognize that our value lies in how we serve others and contribute to the larger good. Motivation comes from knowing that every action, no matter how small, is a part of fulfilling this universal duty. For Marcus Aurelius, purpose wasn't a distant destination, but a way of life. It was about showing up every day and doing the work, whether that work was leading an empire or simply showing kindness to those around him. His example shows us that purpose is always available and that motivation is found in understanding our place in the world and acting in accordance with it. The virtue of perseverance. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. One of the defining qualities of Marcus Aurelius was his remarkable perseverance in the face of adversity. The Stoic emperor faced constant challenges, from wars and political unrest to personal loss and illness. Yet, despite these obstacles, he remained steadfast in his duties and responsibilities. In this mystery, we explore how the virtue of perseverance is central to living with purpose and staying motivated, especially when life becomes difficult. To Marcus Aurelius, perseverance was more than just pushing through hardship. It was about transforming obstacles into opportunities for growth. He famously wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." This Stoic teaching is a powerful antidote to laziness and stagnation. Instead of avoiding or fearing obstacles, the Stoic embraces them as part of the journey towards self-improvement. When challenges arise, they are not barriers to success, but rather the very means by which success is achieved. This mindset can be transformative for those struggling with motivation. Laziness often stems from a fear of failure or discomfort, but if we adopt Marcus's perspective, we see that discomfort is necessary for growth. Every difficulty we face is an opportunity to practice perseverance, to become stronger, and to sharpen our character. This reframing allows us to view challenges not as threats, but as essential steps on the path to achieving our goals. Marcus Aurelius believed that perseverance was deeply connected to virtue. The Stoic ideal is to live in accordance with reason and nature, no matter the circumstances. This means staying true to one's principles, even when it would be easier to give up or take the path of least resistance. No role is so well suited to philosophy as the one you happen to be in right now, he wrote. This emphasizes the Stoic belief that we are always in the perfect situation to practice virtue. Whether we are facing external difficulties or internal struggles, we can always choose to persevere with integrity and courage. In a modern context, this teaching can be applied to the pursuit of any goal. When we encounter setbacks or challenges, the Stoic response is to keep moving forward, to use the obstacle as a way to refine our approach and strengthen our resolve. Purpose is found not in the absence of difficulty, but in the way we respond to it. Perseverance, then, becomes a key motivator. It reminds us that no matter how tough things get, we have the power to endure and to grow from the experience. This mystery also touches on the idea that perseverance is a form of self-discipline. Laziness often arises when we allow ourselves to be ruled by short-term desires, comfort, ease, or avoidance of discomfort. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that true freedom comes from self-mastery. When we learn to persevere in the face of discomfort, we gain control over our actions and our destiny. This self-discipline is not about denying ourselves pleasure, but about choosing what is most important and staying committed to it, regardless of external conditions. In Meditations, Marcus frequently reminded himself of the importance of sticking to his principles even when it was difficult. If it is endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining, he wrote. This blunt reminder encapsulates the Stoic approach to perseverance. Complaining or avoiding the problem doesn't solve it, only action does. The Stoic focus on practical action, combined with an unshakable commitment to virtue, creates a mindset of resilience and determination. This is how Marcus Aurelius stayed motivated throughout his reign, and how we too can find motivation by embracing the challenges we face. The role of reason in motivation. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. At the heart of Stoic philosophy is the concept of reason. For Marcus Aurelius, reason was the guiding force behind all actions. It is through reason that we understand our place in the universe, and it is through reason that we align our actions with our purpose. In this mystery, we delve into how the Stoic use of reason can help us overcome laziness and stay motivated, especially when emotions or external circumstances threaten to derail us. Marcus Aurelius believed that the key to living a purposeful life was to cultivate a mind governed by reason, rather than by emotion or impulse. You have power over your mind, not outside events, he wrote. This insight reveals the Stoic belief that while we cannot control the world around us, we can control how we think about it. Motivation, then, becomes a matter of directing our thoughts in a rational way. When laziness creeps in, it's often because we allow ourselves to be swayed by short-term desires, comfort, ease, or procrastination. But the Stoic practice of reason helps us cut through these distractions and focus on what truly matters. By reminding ourselves of our higher purpose, we can counteract the pull of laziness. The best revenge is not to be like your enemy, Marcus wrote, urging us not to be swayed by the emotions or actions of others, but to remain centered on our own principles. Reason helps us to see the bigger picture. Instead of getting lost in momentary discomfort or frustration, we can use reason to remind ourselves of our long-term goals. Marcus often reflected on the transient nature of life, reminding himself that time was limited. Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away. Death stands at your elbow. Be good for something while you live, and it is in your power, he advised. This perspective can be a powerful motivator. When we realize that our time is finite, we are more likely to take meaningful action now, rather than putting it off for later. The Stoics also believed that reason was the key to emotional resilience. When we encounter setbacks or challenges, it's easy to become discouraged or demotivated. But by using reason, we can separate our emotions from the facts of the situation. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself that external events are neutral. It's our interpretation of them that creates suffering or frustration. By viewing obstacles through the lens of reason, we can stay focused on what is within our control, our own actions and attitudes, rather than getting bogged down by circumstances beyond our influence. This rational approach to motivation also helps us maintain a sense of purpose in the face of uncertainty. In today's fast-paced world, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the sheer number of distractions and competing demands on our attention. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that we can always return to reason, which acts as a compass, pointing us toward what is truly important. If something is in your control, why worry? If it is not, why worry? This simple but profound Stoic question can help us eliminate unnecessary stress and focus our energy where it matters most. By cultivating reason, we gain clarity. We no longer waste time on trivial concerns or get caught up in the emotional highs and lows that often lead to procrastination or laziness. Instead, we stay grounded in what is rational, what is virtuous, and what is in alignment with our purpose. This is the power of reason as a tool for motivation. It cuts through the noise and keeps us on the path to fulfilling our potential. Embracing the present moment. Confine yourself to the present. One of the most compelling Stoic principles is the focus on the present moment. Marcus Aurelius, in his daily reflections, often emphasized the importance of living fully in the present, not being weighed down by the past or paralyzed by fears of the future. In this mystery, we explore how embracing the present moment can help us overcome laziness and stay motivated, grounded in a sense of purpose. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." This simple statement holds profound significance in Stoic philosophy. The idea is that we often lose motivation because we are either dwelling on past failures or anxiously anticipating future challenges. Both attitudes prevent us from taking effective action in the here and now. The Stoic approach is to direct all our attention to the present, recognizing that it is the only moment we truly have control over. Laziness often arises from an overwhelming sense of all the tasks ahead or regret about past actions, which leads to procrastination and inertia. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that when we break down life into its smallest, most immediate moments, the burden becomes manageable. Never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present, he advised. This perspective encourages us to focus only on what is directly in front of us and to handle it with clarity and decisiveness. By embracing the present, we free ourselves from unnecessary mental clutter. The Stoics believed that anxiety about the future or regret about the past are distractions that pull us away from purposeful action. Marcus Aurelius frequently reminded himself to live as if each day were his last, not in a morbid sense, but as a way to focus on what truly matters. Do every act of your life as though it were the last act of your life, he wrote. This level of mindfulness brings an urgency and purpose to our actions, helping us overcome the inertia that leads to laziness. The Stoic practice of embracing the present moment also ties into the concept of amor fati, or love of fate. Marcus Aurelius believed that everything that happens in life is part of a greater cosmic order, and that we should accept whatever comes our way with gratitude. Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart, he wrote. This acceptance allows us to focus on what we can control, our own thoughts and actions, without being consumed by worry or regret. When we fully accept the present moment, we are less likely to procrastinate or avoid discomfort, because we understand that every experience, even difficult ones, is part of our journey. This approach also fosters a deep sense of purpose. When we are fully engaged in the present, we are more likely to notice the opportunities for growth, connection, and contribution that are all around us. Marcus Aurelius frequently reflected on the importance of seeing each moment as an opportunity to practice virtue. Whether you are dealing with a difficult person, facing a challenging task, or simply going about your daily routine, each moment offers the chance to act with courage, wisdom, and integrity. Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to live, Marcus wrote. This reminder can be a powerful motivator. By focusing on the present, we cut through the paralysis of overthinking and take immediate action toward our goals. In today's world, where distractions abound, embracing the present moment can be a radical act of focus and intention. Many people fall into laziness because they are constantly multitasking, always thinking about the next thing they need to do. or endlessly scrolling through distractions. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that true power lies in fully immersing ourselves in the task at hand. Don't waste your time on things you can't control, he warned. This advice helps us conserve our energy and direct it toward meaningful actions that align with our purpose. When we learn to confine ourselves to the present, we unlock a powerful source of motivation. We realize that every moment is an opportunity to move closer to our goals, and that by focusing our attention on what we can do right now, we can overcome the laziness that stems from overwhelm, fear, or distraction. This Stoic mindfulness brings clarity, purpose, and momentum to our lives, allowing us to stay motivated and aligned with our values. Living in accordance with nature. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. Lao Tzu. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing. Marcus Aurelius. In this mystery, we delve into the Stoic concept of living in harmony with nature. Marcus Aurelius frequently reflected on the idea that the universe operates according to natural laws and that human beings are part of this greater cosmic order. To live with purpose and stay motivated, Marcus believed that we must align our actions with nature and embrace the challenges it presents. Laziness arises when we resist this natural flow, but when we accept it, we find clarity and direction. Marcus Aurelius often wrote about the importance of understanding our place within the natural world. Everything that happens is as natural as the rose in spring or the crop that ripens in summer, he observed. This insight reveals a profound Stoic truth. Life unfolds according to its own rhythms, and our task is to align ourselves with this natural order, rather than fighting against it. When we resist the flow of nature, we create unnecessary tension and frustration, which often manifests as procrastination or laziness. Living in accordance with nature means accepting that life is full of cycles, of growth and decay, success and failure, ease and hardship. Marcus Aurelius believed that we must embrace these cycles without judgment, understanding that they are part of the human experience. What we do now echoes in eternity, he wrote, reminding us that our actions, though small, are part of a much larger whole. This perspective can help us stay motivated, even when the road ahead seems difficult or uncertain. One of the reasons people fall into laziness is that they are constantly chasing comfort and avoiding discomfort. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that discomfort is a natural part of life, and that we must embrace it if we are to grow and achieve our goals. The art of living is more like wrestling than dancing, he observed, suggesting that life requires effort, discipline, and resilience. Just as a wrestler must constantly adapt to the movements of their opponent, so too must we adapt to the challenges that life throws our way. By living in accordance with nature, we also learn to accept the pace at which things unfold. Nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished, wrote Lao Tzu, a philosopher whose ideas align closely with Stoic teachings. This wisdom reminds us that progress takes time and that we must have patience with ourselves and our journey. Laziness often arises from the frustration of not seeing immediate results, but when we trust in the natural process, we are more likely to stay committed to our goals. Marcus Aurelius believed that when we align our actions with the natural flow of life, we find a sense of peace and purpose that transcends the need for constant achievement. This Stoic principle can be applied to modern life in powerful ways. Many people today feel overwhelmed by the constant pressure to achieve, to be productive, to always be moving forward. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that true motivation comes from aligning our actions with the natural rhythm of life, rather than forcing ourselves to meet arbitrary deadlines or expectations. Everything, a horse, a vine, is created for some duty. For what task, then, were you yourself created? He asked. This question encourages us to reflect on our purpose, not in terms of external success, but in terms of fulfilling our unique role in the world. By living in accordance with nature, we can overcome laziness by accepting that every stage of life, every success and setback, every joy and sorrow is part of a larger, meaningful whole. This perspective allows us to stay motivated even when the path is difficult, knowing that our efforts are contributing to a greater purpose. In the end, Marcus Aurelius reminds us that nature is our greatest teacher, and that by observing and embracing its rhythms, we can find the motivation to live with purpose and integrity. The power of purpose-driven action. A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions. In this mystery, we explore the profound link between purpose and motivation, as understood by Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics. For Marcus, living with a sense of purpose wasn't just a philosophical ideal, it was a practical guide to staying motivated and overcoming laziness. When we know what we are working toward, the effort required no longer feels burdensome, but instead, it becomes a natural extension of our inner drive. Purpose, in this sense, becomes the engine of action. Marcus Aurelius believed that without a clear sense of purpose, we drift aimlessly, and this lack of direction often leads to laziness and inaction. He wrote, "A man's worth is no greater than the worth of his ambitions." This insight reveals that our true value is measured not by external achievements, but by the depth and sincerity of our aspirations. When we pursue a goal that aligns with our highest values and principles, the motivation to act comes naturally. In contrast, when our actions are disconnected from a deeper sense of purpose, we struggle to stay motivated and often fall into laziness. The Stoic concept of purpose goes beyond mere ambition or desire for success. It is about living in accordance with nature and reason, understanding that each of us has a unique role to play in the greater whole of life. Marcus Aurelius frequently reflected on this idea, reminding himself that everything in the universe, from the stars in the sky to the smallest creature on earth, has a purpose. Everything, a horse, a vine, is created for some duty, he wrote. This reflection helped him stay grounded and motivated, even in the face of immense challenges. When we recognize that we too have a unique purpose, we are more likely to take meaningful action, no matter how difficult or uncomfortable it may be. One of the reasons people fall into laziness is that they lack a clear understanding of their purpose. They may feel overwhelmed by the sheer number of tasks they need to accomplish or paralyzed by indecision about which direction to take. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that we can find clarity and motivation by focusing on our core values and principles. What is your vocation? To be a good person, he reminded himself. This simple yet profound statement encapsulates the Stoic belief that our primary purpose is to live virtuously, to act with wisdom, courage, justice, and temperance. When we align our actions with these values, we find a deep and lasting source of motivation. The power of purpose-driven action is that it allows us to overcome the natural resistance to effort. Laziness often arises from a sense of discomfort or avoidance of difficult tasks. But when we are driven by a sense of purpose, the discomfort becomes secondary to the fulfillment we experience from pursuing our goals. The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way, Marcus wrote, reminding us that obstacles are not barriers to success, but opportunities to grow stronger and more resilient. This perspective shifts our relationship with effort, turning what might seem like a chore into a meaningful pursuit. In a modern context, the power of purpose-driven action is especially relevant. Many people today struggle with a lack of motivation, not because they are inherently lazy, but because they have not identified a purpose that truly inspires them. The constant distractions of modern life, social media, entertainment, consumerism often pull us away from our deeper aspirations. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that when we strip away these distractions and focus on what truly matters, we find the clarity and motivation to act. Don't act as if you had 10,000 years to live, Marcus warned. This reminder can serve as a powerful motivator for those struggling with laziness or procrastination. When we recognize the brevity of life, we are more likely to take immediate action toward our goals, knowing that every moment counts. Purpose-driven action is not about achieving perfection or never making mistakes. It is about consistently moving forward, even in the face of difficulties, because we understand that our actions are part of something greater. This Stoic principle can be applied to any aspect of life, whether it's pursuing a career goal, developing a personal project, or simply becoming a better person. When we are driven by purpose, we no longer need to rely on fleeting bursts of motivation. Instead, we cultivate a steady, enduring sense of determination that carries us through even the most challenging circumstances. In this way, purpose becomes the antidote to laziness and the foundation of a motivated, meaningful life. Death as the ultimate motivator. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. In the final mystery, we explore one of the most provocative and powerful themes in Stoic philosophy: the contemplation of death. For Marcus Aurelius, the awareness of death was not something to be feared, but rather a constant reminder to live fully and with purpose. In this mystery, we uncover how the Stoic reflection on mortality can serve as the ultimate motivator, helping us overcome laziness and stay focused on what truly matters. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This insight encapsulates the Stoic practice of memento mori, or the remembrance of death. Far from being a morbid obsession, this practice was intended to sharpen the mind and focus the will. By regularly reflecting on the fact that our time is limited, we are reminded to make the most of every moment and to avoid wasting time on trivial concerns or procrastination. Laziness, in this context, becomes a form of self-betrayal, an avoidance of the responsibility to live fully and with purpose. For Marcus Aurelius, the awareness of death was a powerful tool for cutting through the distractions and temptations that often lead to laziness. "Do not act as if you had 10,000 years to throw away," he wrote, urging himself to stay focused on what was most important. This reflection on mortality brings clarity to our actions, helping us prioritize the things that truly matter. When we realize that life is fleeting, we are more likely to take immediate action toward our goals, knowing that every moment is precious and irreplaceable. The Stoic practice of contemplating death also helps us overcome the fear of failure, which is often at the root of laziness and procrastination. Many people avoid taking action because they are afraid of making mistakes or encountering difficulties. But Marcus Aurelius teaches us that these fears are ultimately insignificant in the face of our inevitable mortality. Consider how much more pain is brought by anger and grief than by the things that cause them, he observed, reminding us that our mental suffering is often far worse than the actual challenges we face. By embracing the reality of death, we free ourselves from the paralyzing fear of failure and find the courage to take action. In a modern context, this Stoic reflection on death can be a powerful antidote to the distractions and procrastination that plague so many people today. We live in a world of constant stimulation, where it is easy to lose sight of our deeper purpose and get caught up in the pursuit of comfort or avoidance of discomfort. But Marcus Aurelius reminds us that our time is limited and that we must use it wisely. It is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live, he wrote. This profound statement challenges us to reflect on whether we are truly living in accordance with our values and purpose, or merely going through the motions. Death, in Stoic philosophy, is not something to dread, but something to accept as a natural part of life. By contemplating our own mortality, we are reminded of the urgency of living with intention and purpose. Laziness in this context is a refusal to engage with life fully. It is a surrender to comfort and avoidance at the expense of our higher calling. But when we embrace the reality of death, we find the motivation to act decisively and meaningfully. Marcus Aurelius frequently reflected on the transient nature of life, not as a source of fear, but as a way to stay grounded in the present and motivated to pursue his goals. All is ephemeral, fame and the famous as well, he wrote, acknowledging that even the greatest achievements are fleeting. This recognition can help us let go of the need for external validation or perfection, and instead focus on the intrinsic value of living a virtuous, purposeful life. In the end, the Stoic reflection on death serves as the ultimate motivator. When we remember that our time is finite, we are more likely to take action now, rather than putting it off for some distant future. We are less likely to waste time on trivial concerns or distractions, and more likely to focus on what truly matters. This sense of urgency, grounded in the awareness of our mortality, can help us overcome laziness and stay motivated to live a life of purpose, wisdom, and integrity. You've uncovered powerful Stoic insights from Marcus Aurelius. Now, it's time to apply them. Embrace challenges, take purposeful action, and shape your own path. Remember, every step forward is progress. If you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to like, leave a comment, and subscribe for more wisdom-filled videos. Let's continue growing together. Your next transformation is just a click away.